Mhm. The global water justice movement is demanding a change in international law. Yeah. You know, I mentioned the amount of salt that I want and some of the uses for it. Yes. But this constitutional guarantee of water for the public, oh, the COMDA, the Coalition of Mexican Organizations for the Right to Water, yes. I mentioned that there are a lot of places throughout the world that have a real water shortage. Yeah. Now, these constitutional guarantees, if you don't enforce them, they don't really mean anything. See, it's kind of a stupid way that politicians can sign all these agreements, but if they don't enforce them, they don't mean anything. It's kind of like electing to office judges. Well, why don't we get this constitutional guarantee? Yeah. Now, let's say you as a nation signed on with one of these right to waters. Our right to water covenant in the United Nations. Yeah. And I said, well, I actually can make that a reality. Yeah. I can guarantee fresh water to every person in humanity over the next 5 to 10 years as long as you pay me for my technology. Now, my concern is yes, is that when you sit there as God right now, you're violating certain international covenants that make it a crime to obstruct me from selling my innovations. Now, I realize that Mexico probably could use some more water. Yes. And when I was looking at this U.S. World News green economy, yes, yes, yes. This is an older one. This is from 2009. 10 years ago. There was something that I thought was very interesting. Yes. In Israel, they have what's known as steam. Yes. See, Bright Sources demonstration facility in Israel, thousands of mirrors redirect the sun's rays into a water-filled boiler, yeah, creating steam that turns a turbine and generates electricity. Now, I know they're using mirrors, and I would use a magnifying glass to point it towards the ocean. Yeah. But it's the same concept of using the heat of the sun to generate steam that could be used to generate electricity in fresh water. Yes. They decided to go with mirrors. I decided to go with magnifying glasses. Oh, oh, oh. Now, I'm going to want to know this location and all the other locations that use the redirecting of the sun's rays because it seemed to me, yes, that somebody is really not doing what they're saying. How? Now, let's say I had thousands of magnifying glasses. Yes, that had mirrors behind them so that there were 100 times the magnification of the sun. And I pointed them all, yes, at a boiler filled with billions of gallons of water. Now, I don't know if they use magnification in the mirrors that they're using there, but my thought is probably nobody thought of that. Now, I'm going to want to know all these international covenants for water. Yes. And I'm going to want to manufacture some water, and I'm going to want my family with me when I do that. Okay. And then look at this. This is quite the green magazine from 10 years ago. Gas reserves. Ooch, looks like we're always working on that. President Barack Hussein Obama, and look at right here, Joe Biden. The energy ways of America. Huge cash infusion. Yes. And then there was this guy here. Look at him. Yeah, seems very serious. Oh, turning up the heat on climate change. We're still doing the same thing for 10 years. Oh, Al Gore, environmental advocate. He won the Nobel Prize. When I emailed those in the Nobel Prize, yeah, about my want to win that same prize that Al Gore did win, and so did Barack Hussein Obama 6 months while being the president of the United States. I thought for sure if I could actually get those laws enforced, I could be a winner of a lot of different awards that would recognize my contributions to humanity. Now, this The Energy Information Administration, yeah. Mm. I just like storing and imports of oil or exports of oil and anything metal. Let's say you're the DOT. You decide to run the actual frequencies of the Department of Transportation through large containers of oil. Yes, because it is. And then somehow all those frequencies get oiled so as to cause the premature death of the citizens of this nation and other nations. Could you give me each and every location that the Energy Information Administration, yes, tracks for U.S. oil imports? Yeah. Now, my thought was we can make all of those out of recycled garbage and replace all the metal containers with recycled garbage, yes, that I sold myself. For every place we want to store any petroleum products, so that would, well, could you just call the Energy Information Administration for me?